There's also questions about why. I think I saw an article saying why was it that the sirens of yeah, they were
Oh,
like
the mercy truck.
yeah,
Yeah,
either the emergency sirens or something like that was
yeah.
like delayed or there were a lot of things that weren't adding up.
Right. So that you had the emergency trucks that were trying to, they were blocking the one main escape out of the city, and they were fixing the telephone poles while the fires were still going on. So they was like, so they showed a video. There was like a long ass traffic line, and it was like, why are y'all blocking the road right now? And they said that it was like they understand trying to take the telephone poles out of the way because of electric, but they were trying to reinstall new ones while the fire was still going on. So a lot of people got stuck, and a lot of people couldn't really even get out. But it was like maybe what they were saying, like, why was this happening? That's like going into like it being delivery, all
A
that.
lot of things weren't adding up, and they were saying that I did a lesson on it about how bad it got because they said at night people were getting robbed, great and all of that, and also you had some people that were literally trapped in their houses because um, their cars were either out of gas or burnt, and they couldn't get to the distribution center because they either didn't know where it was at or they just couldn't actually get there. And to leave out, like you would have like some of those electrical wires that are on the floor, so it's dangerous. So you had people that were literally just stuck there. You had people jumping into the ocean for survival to escape the fire. So all of these things are happening, and that was just like an instant, just like that, uh, 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 a flash shock of reality for those people right there. And the Lord is going to do that. Like I always say, yeah, there you go. And that looked apocalyptic right there. And that's I was gonna say that one event like I remember years ago you did a lesson on the movie Aftershock about I think it was like an earthquake and after that it led to a whole bunch of chaos and that's just one event, and if one event can cause this much damage, imagine what the Lord said about you're gonna have earthquakes in diverse places and all these diseases and so on and so forth. It's just gonna be nonstop, one after the other, like a conveyor belt of hell. All right, now I sent you an article that was basically dealing with Russia. I forgot who it was in Russia. I forgot what was his role. He was a general or military, somebody up in the ranks. He basically was saying that the U.S. has biolabs over there in Ukraine, which explains why they're constantly sending all that money over there, billions of dollars, and even they themselves said this Ukraine offensive is not there. It's not happening. That shit is it's not. They're losing. But yet they keep on sending money over there. And the Russian general, he said that basically the C-19, the Pan D, was set up and orchestrated by the U.S. and that another one is coming. And what they do is their biolabs over there in Ukraine, they experiment with human transmittable diseases, and then they keep on testing those. So really, they're gathering these samples to use as offensive for world dominance. Is what he said. Okay, so they know what's going on. Basically, coming up with diseases and seeing that they're working on medicines in order to cure these diseases. But what they're really doing is they're using it as a test, use it as a form of a weapon against large communities and so on and so forth, ultimately to bring that control that they've been looking for. So it's going to go through the medical aspect of things. All right, in order for them to ultimately bring in that MOTP, all right, it has to be tied into medical and people. All right, being allowed to be, they allowing them to perform these medical procedures on you like they did in the past few years. So that's part of how they're going to blend this MOTP in is that your name, your identity, your identity, okay, and your access to everything around society has to go through this one thing, okay? So your medical records, and it's going to be important because the next steps, when you read the so-called pandemic treaty with the WHO, the next steps is literally going to be, okay, well, now we're going to implant you with identifiers. So that's where you get the Supreme Court coming in and having to make sure laws and amendments. But they can go past that within 6 months by declaring the state of emergency. So they already got that stuff already boiling and ready to go. They also said that why is it that the who that came out and said that this thing's over, right? And then just shortly after that, they established something prevention like committee or some organization, some body, as though basically like the kind of body they established would be what was needed at the beginning of the pandemic. But now that they declared it to be over, then they go and declare establish a body like this. That's suspicious, you know. It's almost like you once the event is over, now you're establishing a team that's supposed to take care of events like this. And then YouTube, like I did a lesson on yesterday, now they came out and said, "Yo, forget the C19 joint. We coming after anything medical." Yeah, they just updated that. They said if you say chemo is bad, you're done. If you say that if you pose any natural treatments, you're done. Even if you were somebody that underwent chemo, if you come out and say that it's not, no, you're done. Anything that's not parroting what the government or the authority says, they're gonna come and see you. That's pretty much where they at. That's going to the beast showing their horn. Man. They start to become draconian. And this is how they set the temperature. It's always a tone setter. It starts with, okay, you can't say certain things. Next thing, you can't do certain things. Next thing, you have to do certain things. Right? And that's what they did over the past years. You know? You can't go here. You got to 6 feet this, you got to do this, you got to put a mask on. And now, you can't go to work unless you take this jump shot. You know? Word. Oh, God. Because at the end of the day, what? It's all prophecy. Regardless of what you do, it's all prophecy. Right? Now, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 1. Behold, and we're going into this a lot. We've been going into 2nd Ezra 15, 16, 13, 6, a lot, because we're in the times when these scriptures are prevalent. And now it's to the point where words are going to be literally flying off the page, where you're going to see it, and immediately you're going to think of the scriptures, and you're going to see exactly why. Look, man, when we see the things that are going to be manifesting, we're going to understand exactly why Ezra wrote it the same way he wrote it there. And we're going to feel like if we were seeing these things, we would write the same thing that he wrote.
Why that's going to be the because we want to know why these things are happening. It's like you being forewarned. Always going to like watching a scary movie that you've already seen. Once the scary part comes, it's not scary to you anymore. But if somebody's never seen that movie, they're the one that's jumping, they're the one that's scared. So we got the scripts to the movie that the Lord is saying, "Oh, this might be a scary ass time, but you're not gonna really be scared because you already know what's gonna come." And that's why Isaiah 33, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding should be the stability of our time. Somebody else see you jump scared, you start laughing. You're laughing at their calamity. The Lord's gonna be laughing at their calamity. So they and we're gonna be sitting there laughing because we expected it to happen, so we were already prepared. We say, "I do apologize." And it happens, and that this thing is, that's how the Lord's going to be laughing. Suspense too. Suspense, like it's like once the suspense is, once it happens, you know what scripture it ties to. I mean, beautiful, man. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, exciting. That's why the Heavenly Father is doing that a terrible power. Now the Lord is going to see the real terror on the earth, because He created it, and He is the epitome of fear. That's why the scriptures emphasize fear of the Most High. So now the world has lost the fear of the Lord to the point where they don't even think the Most High exists. You should listen to what Harari said. And that's the vibration that what the whole world can take on. So that means the Lord has to bring down that judgment to a point where it's never been felt before in history, and that's a scary thought. See? Job 18 verse 14 says, "His confidence shall be rooted out of his tabernacle, and it shall bring him to the king of terrors." It's going to be rooted out. So it's not going to be cut; it's going to be completely taken out. All right, and that also reminds me of the precept about "Is wisdom no more in Teman?" Because these devils have pride in their pseudo knowledge, in their technology. But the Lord, when He brings these things, what is it, Isaiah 47? That evil is going to rise against thee, thou shalt not know from whence it rises. So when these calamities come and it gets out of their hands, when they can't control it, they're going to start to be in fear. Think about what is the East by Esau, but this world, especially here in Babylon, they got the mindset of Esau. What is he confident in? It's security. That's why y'all think America is so great, because it's a quote unquote secure place. It's a place that you don't have safety, right? You don't have to deal with a lot of dangers, a lot of even when I think about just the weather calamities that other places have, America for a long time we didn't really have crazy disasters that happen. You have some like tornadoes hit, was it the Midwest? But like the things that are happening now, as we just talked about the Southern California, that hasn't happened in 85 years. So like now, there's people are not confident in the fact that the weather terrain, you don't have to deal with certain events like that, or like the hurricanes, or all these things, and that confidence being taken out. And it says what? The king of terrorists. Who's doing this? Even if Esau is the one that's manipulating it, who's putting it in the spirit of Esau to do that? It all goes back to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Yeah. So continue back in the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 15, and verse 1. It says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Yahweh."
Right. So that's what we're doing, and that involves first learning the prophecy, right? Eating the whole roll, and then going out and teaching. So you gotta. How do we speak the words of prophecy into the ears of the Lord's people? By coming out here, all right, so they can physically hear us, but also on the internet, okay? And that's how they hear this word, because that's what's really carried the word throughout the whole world. And what is the main thing we're supposed to be focused on? Is prophecy. Okay, yeah, the history is important, the context, the laws, these are all important, and you have to know these things. But the main thing as a prophet that we focus on are prophecy, right? Whenever the prophet was raised up, what were they really known for? To foretell what was going to happen. What was the will of the Lord? What was the mind of the Lord? What was the word of the Lord? Yeah, and that's why Saul was so desperate to seek the word of the Lord, because the Lord wasn't dealing with him by visions or prophets or the Urim and the Thummim. So he had to go all the way to a witch, to find out what's up, what's going on here. And that shows you that Saul didn't have stability. And because of how unstable he was, it led him all the way down that dark path. You're going to be with me. On that quiet horse, But hey, that's why it's so important for us to have this stability, because when that time comes, we're going to be stable in the mind. We're going to see these things and we're not going to bug out, because we're almost going to be expecting it. All right, guys, so this is going down. That means that you're going to have the famine, the martial law, the troops. You're going to have all this going on. So almost like we got a spiritual checklist, and we're expecting this to happen. This to happen. Get excited.
What's coming.
There you go. He's like on an invincibility Chico.
John chapter 14, verse 27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And that's the peace. See, Saul, as the brother mentioned, he didn't have peace. And it was ultimately because what the Lord wasn't dealing with him. And when you don't have peace, and first, if you don't got peace in your mind, and then you got actual events happening that are chaotic, because we're going to be in a time of a time where it's not going to be peaceful, but we're going to have peace, because that peace comes from what? The Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Comforter. So us having a Comforter with us to give us that peace in a time where it's chaos, at a time where it's not peaceful, that's what's going to allow us to be stable. That's what's going to allow us to be calm, cool, and collected. And that comes from what? The Lord dealing with you. That's why Yahweh Shai said, peace I leave with you, not as this world gives. Because this world's peace is based off of the worldly peace. And that comes from what? Security, comfort, all these safety, all these things that people put their strength and their trust in, that can easily be taken away. And those can be taken away in so many different, aspects. Just like over there in Lahaina, their peace was taken away because of a fire, And then on top of that, like how the brother said, they had the raping, they had the looting. It was just a compounding of unpeaceful events. So us being in something I was thinking about, us being in those times, that's how the Lord is going to now make the separation and said, "Then shall my chosen be known," because you're going to see, hey, those individuals are not going to be as devastatingly affected. And then on top of that, even if let's say the Lord do have a wildfire happen within our town or whatever, we're not going to be the ones that's going to be bugged out. We're not going to be the ones that's going to be, afraid and scared. That's why the Lord said, neither be afraid. What it says, let not your heart be troubled, your mind. Because when your mind is troubled, then you end up doing what? you end up making wrong decisions. You end up making rash decisions when you are in a troubled mind state. Yeah, and then those rash decisions ends up being a wrong decision. That's why people, and that's why people say that it's going to be as if a man did people a lion and a bear met him, and then he fled from the bear and went and laid his hand upon the wall. The serpent bit him. There ain't gonna be no escape. Okay, you're gonna run from one calamity to another, and just when you think that you're good, you're gonna get hit with another one that you ain't gonna see coming. See, to put it in more modern day terms, you gotta understand that these elites, the Lord is using them to build a fence around everything. They're blocking everything out by using this AI. The seeds, exactly. So they're taking over the land, they're taking over the food, everything. The prayers, they're taking over everything. All right, through their technological advancements. And who's at the bottom of all this and who's being targeted the most? Jake. That's why it's known as Jacob's trouble. So there'll be no escape no matter where you go. You got housing problems, you got job issues, okay? You got societal problems because now these people gonna be like, no, y'all the problem. See? So now Jake is starting to wake up and put the pieces together, and now the vibration of Israel is permeating throughout the whole entire land. See? That's gonna cause a lot of spirits to get roused up, especially Amalek. And we know what they got planned. So that time of peace and safety and chilling and you can go over here and they're gonna be stuff that's put in place against you specifically. You're gonna be getting kicked out of your work now, and your job's gonna be firing you women. All right. Most people who are gonna be getting laid off the most is gonna be Jakes, man. People who are not gonna be able to get access to these new incoming houses that they're building is gonna be Jakes. Okay? And when the next disease pop up, they're gonna be coming after you, Jakes, man. Ezekiel 21 verse 5. Son of man, prophesy, and say, thus saith the Lord. Say, a sword is sharpened and also furbished. It goes to show you that the Lord doesn't care. This is the same message that Ezekiel was prophesying about, and the rest of the prophets in the same thing here. And we're prophesying saying a sword is being sharpened. snowstorms, you had people looting. Like people was literally out there looting, robbing businesses. You had that one business owner. He fired a shotgun. And people were saying they were hearing gunshots out. And it's a snowstorm. So that's just going to show you that because back in the day, growing up, when you had a snowstorm, everybody was inside. But the Lord is showing you how He's putting with these more evil spirits. Hey, the spirits of vengeance are out. That and any opportunity, as you said, when there's some type of disaster, now people are not trying to. Now people are adding to the disaster. Those evil spirits are adding to the things that are happening that are already, people dying from the cold, and now people dying from looting. Just trying to get more wicked. Not trying to get more wickedness is being added to the wickedness that's happening in the earth already.
I was gonna say, backing up the brother said, that happened in Katrina when they was all in the Superdome. Rape, they were murder, people were robbing. Okay, that's what happens with the chaos, man. Because they don't have that knowledge.
They sit before thee as my people, and they hear thy words, but they will not do them. For with their mouth they shew much love, but their heart goeth after their covetousness.
That's like them people that claim to be all church-like and believing in the Heavenly Father now. They think people think that like it's like they know how the Most High get down when they're ignoring the very men that the Lord set up. These things happen in the city. The Lord is doing this. You just had the thing in the Washington D.C. the Howard University. A bunch of locals came up on the campus and attacked students, and they didn't know those students. That's those evil spirits. But then it's like it's those spirits. But then where's the Lord placing those spirits at? And it was an attack at Temple University too. So why is the Lord placing these spirits at colleges? The wisdom of this world, the people that what you gotta think about this all the show. And they said it was like 50 locals that was on like 3 niggas. And they said one of the dudes didn't get up and he got stabbed. In the college, and people all up in uproar. Oh man, college supposed to be safe. You don't know, you say your children supposed to be safe. Well, no, we ain't in the time of safety, man. The Lord said we in the time of hate right now. This is tense. Times is hard. And then especially you think about you a local from DC, you like, you think about like, jealous of this college motherfucker. The HBCUs is in the hood. So then let's go attack some of these niggas. Let's go run some shit, man. And that's what the Lord's gonna start doing. In those movies, apocalyptic movies, there's always groups of people that's going around committing violent acts. Book of Eli. You know what I'm saying? What's that other movie? That was in Holland, not Holland, Amsterdam. The torture nigga. That movie. Hospital. There was a group of kids running around. They was being violent. Purge. It's always that people are going to team up and they're going to run some shit, man. That's going to be like the time of the Walking Dead. They always got to pair up, man, in apocalyptic time. And the Lord's going to give brothers the spirit of ability to be good, even if they have to be by themselves. Because a lot of brothers might have to be by themselves.
Verse 11 in Ezekiel 21, it says, it has been given to be furbished. And he had given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slave.
What's this going to do with the sword? He's going to use it to slay. Right? That's why. And so the Lord is saying, I'm giving Esau the top of the top, and he can use to bring the absolute mass destruction that there's ever been. That's why it says that this is going to be a time like never before, because the Lord is going to show his wrath forth, not only through Esau, but through the natural disasters, through the wild animals, through everything, through nature itself, and it's going to be what they call hell on earth. Because remember, the Most High has been upset, but he hasn't unleashed his wrath at this level before. So literally the world does not know what it looks like when the Creator himself is this angry, because he's been, number one, long suffering. All right, when the last time he got angry, the whole earth was flooded, and only 8 people made it. And then since then, it's been thousands of years of wickedness worse than it was then. So what do you think the Lord's going to do this time? That's why he said, look, fire and water is cool, but I ain't going to use that no more. This time it's going to be fire. You drowning, that's one thing. When you burning, that's another.
That's crazy. Like that's the opposite. Yeah. Right? Water is like the opposite of fire, and the Lord destroys the earth with the water. But he is a consuming fire. So he's like, I'm going to show you, I'm going to destroy something with then that's opposite of me. But let me show you what I'm really about. What I am. Because nothing, the brother was just talking about like water damage and fire damage. When you go to a house, you either the two types of damages, the worst damages are water damage or fire damage. But water damage, some stuff can be salvaged. You know, some stuff can, I can still save this. With a fire damage, it's complete destruction. Everything gotta go. You know, nothing can survive fire. And the Lord, as we just said, with the flood, nothing survived. But that was water. What's going to survive this fire?
You look at somebody, a dead body that was drowned versus a body that was burnt.
Can't
It's
identify.
different. Yeah, you can't identify. Yeah. And America is going to be that token of the anger of the Lord, because even the first world, when they got destroyed, you still had America become what it became when the Northern Kingdom came over here. It looked like a paradise still. So even after a flood, all those hundreds of years after that, the Lord still preserved a place like this. But this time, He's going to destroy this very place to the point where it's not going to be like, oh, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years later on, you're going to come back in America, it's going to be looking like a plush, lavish land again. No. It's going to be completely destroyed as a memorial. And it's going to be like that forever. You know what I'm saying? After the fire settles and all that, America's going to be barren because you got radiation, all kinds of chemicals that's in the land from all that fire. You know, all the chemicals, the scriptures talk about what? The elements shall melt with fervent heat. Some elements can't work too good with the soil, especially when you mix in all kinds of plutonium and all kinds of different shit into the ground, radiation and all that. It kills all that energy in the soil, the minerals. And that's why the Lord gave us the land Sabbath, that every 7 years you can go back to that same land. Because why? Every year the plants suck up all that nutrients out of the land, out of the soil. See? So imagine fire and brimstone hitting this pelting this land. All right, there's no coming back. This land will never rejuvenate, and it's gonna be like Europe, the bottomless pit. At least you can have some vegetation over there. This place will be barren land, complete decimation, man.
But you mentioned the elements. In order for something to grow, you need elements. Like you look at wheat, like grass, that's able to become a thing because of the different elements that actually are able to prosper. But the Lord's going to destroy the elements of the land of America. So if you destroy the elements of something, it cannot actually be, it can't be rejuvenated. You know, you can't the matter, the actual substance matter of that one. That's why it's going to be nothing but a desert. I got a precept. Isaiah 34, verse 8. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance, and the year of the recompense for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become burning pitch. It shall not be quenched, nor night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste, and none shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it. The owl. You want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. So over time, you know, because when I was looking at the video of the fires in Maui, when you look at the smoke and how black and dark it is, you know, I was picturing America. Eventually, the fire is gonna basically die down, but the smoke is gonna burn for a very, very, very long time. But then eventually, that is also gonna die down, and over a long period of time, you're gonna have those desert creatures that are gonna be burning. That's like yeah. Yep.
Says, and the brazen shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion and the stones of emptiness.
Yeah, which really represents destruction. This place is going to be unrecognizable.
You don't really make it the land of confusion. You'll make Babylon, you know, physically about what it really is. Because right now people don't look. We know spiritually that America is confusion. But people don't look at it. I mean, it's becoming that way. But people don't really look at America as being a confused place. You know, they look at it as it being a orderly spot. But spiritually, it's a confusion because you got sin, wickedness that is just perpetuated here. So the Lord's actually going to turn this place into what it actually really is: complete confusion. It says, "They shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all of her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, and thistles in brambles in the fortress thereof, and it shall be an habitation of dragons in a court of owls.
Yeah, so basically all those different, the White House, the Capitol Hill, all these different areas, they're not going to be what they used to be. You know, it's just going to be just destroyed place, unrecognizable. No. Does it on that?
Oh, yeah. This is a quick piece of the book of Amos, chapter 3, verse 6. You know what I'm saying? Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid? Shall there be an evil in the city, and the Lord hath not done it? I just wanted to say, because what brother's saying, like all the coming tarnish, all the coming turmoil that's coming to this earth and on this particular soil is going to be that the Lord's doing it. And how the Lord said, well, he declared it from the beginning, because remember, he said, I shall not destroy the earth again with water. Yeah. Oh, damn. And then he said, but he declared things from the beginning. So he told Noah and them that rainbow is going to be a covenant for what? I will not destroy the earth again with water, which means what? He said he's going to destroy the earth again in another time. And we're in that time right now. We're in a time when Noah was prophesying of the water, the rain, and the ark. We're right now building the ark, talking about preparing for the fire to come. Because that has never happened either, where land has been consumed with fire. Just like back then was a time where land was never consumed with water. He's going to consume this land with fire. When it says a lake of fire, is going to be a big body of fire on this soil. And it's a big piece of land. You have to include Canada, America, and Mexico. North America.
Like, think about the flood. I know brother has something. When you think about the flood, the destruction of the flood was horrible, right? It's memorialized forever, but that wasn't called the day of the Lord's vengeance.
Right.
Like, that wasn't even the Lord's vengeance. He just was, all right, I'm going to destroy this, repentance in my heart. I just got to destroy you people and restart it. But this is going to be known as the day of Yahweh Bashim El-Shai's vengeance. So you can only imagine, you can't even imagine, but the actual amount of wrath that he's about to actually pour out and how that's actually going to be memorialized forever. The day of the Lord, like everybody's going to know, like this was the day of the Lord's vengeance. And that's going to be one day where he's going to pour out his vengeance upon the earth, and that's going to be set in stone for eternity. Like right now, people can, they could, what's what I'm looking for? They could basically try to refute whether or not the flood happened. You know, even though there's scientific evidence, but you still have some people that can refute it because it's not, you know, it's still like, okay, so you see the flood here, this is the flood, this is the damage of the flood, but you're not gonna be able to refute the day of the Lord's vengeance. You're not gonna be able to refute that.
Some stuff is left in this one.
I don't need to go over that. It's going to change up from the garden. History's going to change. Because now you got Esau ruling, and now Jacob's going to be ruling. There's going to be questions. How did this happen? When did this happen? And it's like this forever. So what was life before this? And that's when the stories begin. You know, but the whole world is going to know, because after 1,000 years, man, trust me, they're going to know. You got gods on earth.
Exactly.
And so it's like, you never had gods on earth before. I mean, you had them, but not like how it is going to be. It's not like this. Like, oh, the gods live in Israel. The gods live in Jerusalem. That's the city of gods. City of gods. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Bomb for her. Her pain. And so Jeremiah 50.8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. How for her? Take balm for her pain, and so she may be healed. Verse 9. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Mistake her and let us go everyone into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and it is lifted up even to the sky. Balm, when you have an injury or wound, you know, you treat the wound and they put the balm on it, and it's supposed to help with the healing. Because really, the medicine you take is not what heals you. The medicine helps your body for healing. Your body is what actually does the healing. All right. So what they're saying, what the precept is saying is metaphorically is comparing Babylon to a wounded person. Okay, and they're saying take balm for her. If so be, she may be healed. You know, she might have a chance, peradventure. But that's just, you know, like in Isaiah, while the Lord's playing with them. And then they're going to get to the point where they're going to stop trying to heal this place, because they're going to realize, nah, this place is done. That's why a lot of these countries are leaving $1 and they're going over, you know, joining BRICS and basically separating themselves. And now all that's left is Saudi Arabia to be like, look, we're not, listen, you're like cancer now. We're not trying to be a part of that. Okay. And when they realize that, they're all going to go, they're going to separate and isolate this war with her diseases. And you already got people howling.
You know, they're already howling right now. Why do you think there's uproars? You know, why do you think there's the sedition, the class the protesting, the class wars, right? The whole Antifa and even though you got a lot of those things that are agent derogatory, but you got people like in the political realm, they're really like arguing against, like the left is arguing against the right and the right is arguing against the left because of they're seeing how America is crumbling. So they're already howling, and the right thinks that they can make it better, and the left is saying, "No, we can make it better." But neither one, because it's a terminal wound. You know, it's a wound that you can't. That's why I said take balm for a pain. Let's see if the right can do it. Let's see if the left can do it. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Everything you're doing is only just causing it worse. It's like you're picking at the wound, and it's just only getting worse and worse.
Yeah. Take it off and kind of clean.
Yep.
Real quick too, and that's happy that the elders said that because think of how Jake normally operates. Right now, they're thinking about 2024 election. They think, oh, maybe by the time we should vote Trump in, maybe things will change. But you see, the Lord had it strategic that over the past 8 years, you've seen a drastic change. You've seen Obama to Trump to Biden, and now you're about to see Trump again. Now they're talking about indictments, and he's going to be going to speak to the Supreme Court in April, and all kinds of dumb shit that's going on. They're still talking about election fraud 3 years after, and people are still, eating up and shit. Like, come on. But you had a change from Trump, from Obama to Trump, and what was happening? They promised the people good times. Make America great again and all this shit. Americans are going crazy. Oh, we're back in power. Oh, we're gonna back down the Russians. The North Koreans are gonna stop with their missile tests and all that, right? Trump is, putting that strength back in America. He's telling them, hey, you better pay your share. If not, you're not gonna be a part of us no more. He's putting tariffs on sanctions on this country. He put a sanction on that country. Russia and China was getting sanctions the whole time when Trump was in power. And then the Lord had what happened. Everybody was like, oh, hey, we need Biden. So he comes in, and what does he do? He destroys the whole entire country. So that now Jake is waking up saying, yo, you see what's going on? Yo, that president, yo, this guy, yo, And now they push him for what? Trump to come back in. Like, that's going to do something, like the elder was saying. The wound is not going to be healed. It doesn't matter what promises they give you. It doesn't matter what new Green New Deal or whatever new shit they got planned for you. It doesn't matter. Everything going electric and cars going electric and carbon this and all this bullshit. It sounds nice, but what's the reality? You got Jake now buying into all this philosophy. Bill Gates is buying, he's setting up carbon land. So you can make money on the stock market based off of your land and how much carbon is emitted by calculating all that. You can make money on the stock market off of that. So Jake is like, oh, hey, that's a new thing. Yo, we got to get into that. Do you understand that this is all leading to MOTV? They're destroying the society as it is and building a new world order within it. And you people are just sitting there chilling and whatever he said. That's the state of the people today. I don't know what you're talking about, us or whatever, but like, shit like that, see, that's the stuff that's going to be, you're going to be hearing the judgments. Like, we might not, we didn't see the guy, but he's saying that. I heard him say stupid. Right. So he could have said, y'all look stupid. But hold on, remember the Lord said every idle word, man. That he wants to account for that word, because the Lord said, they're going to be coming at you against you for my name's sake. He don't know what we're talking about. Well, he might, but he don't know the extent of what we're trying to help our people. We're telling our people that this place is about to be destroyed, and you keep putting all your coins in it, you're going to be destroyed with it. That's why the Lord said, come out of her, my people. This place is done. It said fallen. That means past tense. The Lord had his place screwed from the beginning. When Esau was coming, he's like, your end was already started. You know what I mean? Okay.
This is Joel chapter. Verse 1. This is Joel, the second chapter, verse 1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand.
Also, once again, speaking about the day of the Lord. He said blow a trumpet. That's what we're doing. That's the warning, right? And us blowing the trumpet, as the Lord said, we're going to be a spectacle unto the earth for blowing this trumpet. But that day is a terrible day. That day is not a people got the misconstrued conception that when the day of the Lord comes, it's actually a good thing. That's actually a good. I mean, it's good for some, but for majority of people, it's not going to be a good day. You know, it's not going to be a actual day that you're going to. Hey, what is it to you? What is it? What is it? What is it? What good is it to you? Yep. You know, I think that's in Amos. That woe to you that desire the day of the Lord. What end is it for you? And why is that? Because of your wickedness, the way that you're living, the fact that you're scoffing his prophets. When you scoff the prophets, you're scoffing the Lord. Because it says, say unto, give a warning from me. Say unto, prophesy unto them for me. Give them the message. So if you're saying anything against us, you're actually talking to the actual creator. And that's why that's why the Lord said every idle word. It's not an idle word, it's idle words unto us because we're the vessels of the Lord. But your idle words is actually against the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh. And as the scripture says, the Lord is not mocked. You know anything he's gonna let a creature, he called Jacob a worm. He called Jacob, the ones he loved, he called him a worm. You really think he's gonna let you just talk shit to him and you're not gonna have to answer for that? You were crazy, man.
Amos chapter 5, verse 18, it says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord Yahweh. To what end is it for you?
Because the day of the Lord. See? The day of the Lord isn't well, everybody's come along, like everybody's going up magically. Nah. The day of the Lord is death.
A lot of people don't even want that kind of salvation. Only the elect are looking for that. They think of the Lord coming back as UFOs and aliens and shit. Like we say, we're gonna get beat up. We're actually looking for that. Motherfuckers hear that, they look at it like, wait, what? That's salvation. You Christians don't even know that's even how the Lord's going to save his elect. Salvation, that's the concept of salvation. They don't even think about it like that. Like
You being actually delivered. Yahweh Shai, he's the deliverer. What is he delivering you from? He's delivering you from death.
So the day of the Lord Yahweh is darkness and not light.
And when you think about that,
No, I was going to read the NLT.
okay, because going back to the fires that happened in Lahaina, it was dark. You know why? Because of the smoke. You know that smoke it covers, it blocks out the sun. So that's only just one piece of land, and they say it started from brush fires, whatever. But that's not the fire of the Lord. That's not that. Yahweh Shai said what? That one will life had already be kindled, so it's already got fires going on. He comes to bring he said come to set the earth on fire. That's a fire from the Son of God. That's going to be a dark. It's going to the smoke in the type of intensity is going to actually make the day dark.
Ezra said that saw the multitude, and then basically upon one blast, nothing, just dust and smell of smoke. So what fire have you seen done that? At least you would see some people burning. I mean, if it's like a bomb, it'll do some damage and destroy their things in immediate impact. But you'll see something, But with this, he said just smoke. So they got completely decimated, pulverized, eviscerated, annihilated.
Brutality.
Amos 5 and 8, 5 verse 18 in the NLT, it says, what sorrow awaits you who say, if only the day of the Lord were here. It says, you have no idea what you are wishing for. That day will bring darkness and not light. So there you go. Just like the elder said, it's going to be not just dark physically, but also the mentality of people, the emotions of people. You're going to be so distressed and so confused. What the hell is going on? You're seeing people get beamed up. You're seeing a big, gigantic ship that's up in the heavens, and you're seeing fire. You're hearing it. You're feeling the earth shaking, right? And there's no hope for you. You hear people crying and screaming. This is traumatic, right? And you call yourself a so-called Christian, calling upon God and Jesus Christ, and ain't nothing happening to you. Hey, that's reality, man. That's gonna suck. And you look around you, and everybody's in the same situation as you. There's no hope. At least it's better when you see somebody who looks like they got it together. Maybe I could go with him or her, and then we're gonna be all right. But when there's no hope, and you just sitting there saying, "Oh damn, what are we gonna do?" That's when you're gonna see.
Because the Lord wants what? Fear. You know? The Lord wants you to fear him. Fear you not me, was that Jeremiah 5th chapter? Fear you not me, says the Lord. So you got this, everybody, majority of this world not fearing the actual power that commands fear. So he gonna make you fear him. And it's gonna be a fear that you can't forget. You can't say, I remember when I was afraid of the Lord. Nah, it's not. Ain't no I used to be. It's gonna be like it's instilled in you. You're terrorized daily. Daily you're gonna be terrorized.
Like a lion. Don't forget the lion. Anytime you see a lion, you're gonna be afraid because you know what it can do. That's the same thing. When the Lord shows his power and shows you what he can do, you ain't gonna forget that fear. And anytime you see him, you're gonna get PTSD. And remember that exact thing. Static.
What's that?
I'm saying it sort of like static, like in the winter time when it's put like a shot.
When you go into God Almighty, the word Al-Shadia, brother can look up the actual definition of Shadia. That's what the Lord's going to actually make the world know him as.
Yeah, I think God, he is Almighty, and God is terrible.
Terrible. Yeah, go into that. Yeah. I think that's the root word, shad. But that's what the Lord is going to be, because right now the Lord isn't known as Al-Shadia. Remember, the scripture tells you that his name is going to be dreadful among the heathens. The Lord's name is dreadful, but it's not actively dreadful amongst the heathens right now. So when the Lord is going to make an event happen to where he is going to be known as Al-Shadia to humanity, to existence, to everything that is actually alive is going to know him as Al-Shadia. Now, Israel is going to know him as Al-Shadia, but we're going to also know him as Yahweh. He's the deliverer. He's the savior. You know what I mean? Yeah, our God. That's what he said. I shall be your God and you shall be my people. But the heathens are only going to know because they're not getting saved. They're not going to have salvation. They're not going to know Yahweh as a savior. They're going to know him as Al-Shadia. Got it?
The first word Shadia, which is Almighty, or most powerful, and then you have the root word Shagat, which is where you get to deal violently with, devastate, ruin, spoil, to violently destroy.
It says to deal violently with. So the Lord's going to deal with the world violently. So when you have a power, the one and only living power, that is the way you know him as him dealing violently with you. Like that's how they're going to fear him, because there's no action. You can't combat this type of power, and you're not going to be able to ignore this type of power. So you're going to know him as only dealing violently with you for that day, and then the 1,000 years, and then even after that. That's why they're going to serve Israel. That's why they're going to serve Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah, because they want to be feared into doing that. You're going to be feared into serving Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shah. They're talking about these heathens. I mean, really the whole world, even 2/3 of Israel. And that's why what we're doing right now, we're feared into serving the Lord, and this is actually a mercy the Lord's given us, because we're fearing the Lord with not actually having to feel his wrath, the indignation. That's why it says, present your bodies, I beseech you by the mercies of the Most High to present your bodies as a living sacrifice. Because we know what will happen on the other end. We know how it said Noah was being warned of God, moved with fear. You know, built the ark. We're building a spiritual ark because we're moved with fear.
I mean, what about the description when Moses said, when they said Moses saw the Lord, he trembled and he quaked. Saw the Lord.
And the Lord came to him. When John saw Yahushua in Revelation, he said he felt. As he said, he just saw him. Yahushua had to tell him, fear not. Like, how do you, that means like, what did Yahushua look like for him to see him? He was afraid. And so he didn't even do no, he just came. Remember, he said, I should not meet thee as a man. So what is he going to look? How is he going to appear for you to just be afraid when you see him?
It's the spiritual John wrote in the book of John. But we don't know what he's going to be like. But when we see him, and then the Lord showed him what he's going to be like in Revelation.
He was afraid. But then the Lord said, we're going to feel like that. So that's why the nation shall learn war no more. They're going to just be afraid by looking at us. I'm not fighting you. Hell no. Like, nah.
I think also what we can do in the beginning. When the war comes back and with your hell shining the rest of us, we're gonna put order in there.
It's going to be that much more terrifying because Scripture says the Lord is going to come back as a thief in the night. And it's a different kind of terror when somebody surprises you out of nowhere. You know, it's dark, you're in your room chilling, and you see somebody a figure just appear out of nowhere. And it's not like a friendly appearance. It's just like he's just popping in. You're like, what the fuck, yo? And then you question, yo, who's that? And nobody's saying nothing. And then it keeps coming closer and closer. That's when you disappear. Yeah, that's when you try to disappear. You go you know? And no one is expecting this. So imagine that, and you understand as that entity starts getting closer and closer to the earth, you understand, okay, he's coming to fuck us up. How you gonna feel about that? You see? So that's all these things happening within 1 hour, man. Damn. You don't have enough time to even reason, understand what's going on. You know? It hasn't hit you yet until the missiles drop.
It's funny. Man, after the missiles, when the Lord comes back with the elect, remember the time when black people went to the neighborhood, they said, there goes the neighborhood. But when the heathens see the elect coming back down from the heavens, they're going to really understand how the shift go out. They're going to really understand how the shift in power really has taken place. Because that's really going to be, it's that transitional period. The transitional period is always the craziest. Because like you're going from one thing and you're easing into another phase. That makes it, but you're easing into the phase of everyone else losing being on the top and all the one nation that was at the bottom coming up on the top. That's the Israelites. That's why the Lord said they shall pass through her no more. The Lord said you should never have sorrow. But the Lord said we're going to be a kingdom of peace. The land that was made waste and desolate is going to be inhabited with men, flocks of men. Go back to 2 Ezra chapter 15, continuing in verse 2. It says, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
That's why we have them here today. So yeah, over time, the words of the scripture, they obviously people had to rewrite them because the parchment and all that didn't survive. But the Lord kept the message the same. Okay, the concept of the message, He kept it the same, and that's why He said, call them to be written in paper, to be recorded. Okay, for they are what? Faithful and true. And that's why the Lord preserved it all the way up until this time. And even that in itself shows you that there's a true living power. Because how can words this old still be this accurate? That shows you that we do have the truth in this time. Because everything that we're prophesying from this book that's so-called fake is still happening all around you. The prophecy that MOTB, yeah, so-called man-made. You know?
I mean, it is man-made, but it wasn't man-inspired.
No. What was man-made? Everything is man-made. The Most High ain't come down and write anything. So if we can't believe anything that's man-made, then I guess we back in the Stone Age, because we can't believe anything.
And this book explains all of this man-made stuff that you see. And it said it was going to happen before it started to happen. So that's where the prophecies come in. You know, this is this is happening. But then the scriptures tell you this will happen at this time, and this is what this means, and this will happen at this time, and this is what this means. So when we break it down, all we're showing you is what the scripture says it was going to happen. Now this is reality is playing out right in front of your face.
And it was written by different people at different times.
There you go.
Exactly. They try to make it seem like this one person sat down one day and wrote the whole Bible.
Like that's why you never see, who's the author of the Bible?
Right.
What's his name? You can't say King James. You know what I'm saying? Right. The white man wrote the Bible. Well, King James wasn't white. Right. What's his name? What's his credentials at? And why do we take it so serious if it's so-called white man wrote the book? Ain't all these history books that you people believe in written by so-called white people?
The Bible predates, but Esau wasn't even, the white people wasn't even in power in a lot of a majority of the scripture. So how would they write the book when they met and it's not even them that's in power?
That's a curse. How do you explain the book of Genesis? Because who was there? What white man was there writing these things down? And then the flood happened, right? So who has information of all the things predating the flood? When you start hitting them with these questions, that's when they get, So if it was rewritten, why was not ever a controversy within the nation of Israel, like, yo, nah, this is not in the scripture. I don't remember the scripture. That is good. You know? Everybody was like, yeah, that's what happened. So,
Why is it so popularized? You know, that's literally the most published book in the world. That's for a reason. That obviously shows you that the Most High wanted this word to be out. He wanted His word to actually be on the earth. Universal.
that's why the best they could do was to hide or take out certain parts of it. But they couldn't actually destroy all the scriptures or rewrite all of these because this came from manuscripts, right? Which goes back to the word handwritten. Okay, script to write and manual or manus meaning the hand. Now, when something is manuscripted, it's not like a computer program that you just go and download some software and then just change everything everywhere, change the docs on Wikipedia everywhere. These are physical hard copies that are all throughout the world. So if you start printing some new joint, switching up the words in there, there are people that are going to have the original copy and say this doesn't line up. You know, that's why they try to use AI to destroy what's already there, and then they could bring in their bullshit in there.
That's how you know we have to end. Because now you have Esau literally trying to get rid of the Bible. You know, they have the AI. You can talk to Jesus. You can talk to the disciple. Yeah, the chat line. You can talk to his disciple. You can talk to Paul P. They got it listed. You can talk to you got to talk to Jesus himself. AI got it. But then, like I said, I mean, I ain't say about. I know Elder Yashua, but yeah, I gave the information. Somebody asked AI, "What do you look like? What does it look like?" And it made a picture of a Orthodox Amalekite. Yes, you Google it. They asked AI, "What do you look like?" And he drew a portrait of himself. He looked like with an Orthodox Amalekite, the big ass beard, old, all that.
Who asked that?
Huh? No, somebody asked AI, "What do you look like?" Draw a self-portrait.
Oh, random person. Okay.
Yeah, draw a self-portrait of himself, and it drew an Amalekite, Orthodox Amalekite. So I'm like, you already know we have to end. Right? Yes. Yo.
Only for those with the spiritual seat.
Right.
It says, 2 Corinthians 15 verse 3, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee.
Yeah, man, because we understand that they're on a lower level of thinking. So why should that bother you? Yeah, imagine you're a PhD, a professor with a PhD, and here it is, you got little kids talking shit to you about, oh, you're so stupid, you don't know what you're talking about. Why would that even get to you? You know? So don't fear that, because what they're saying holds no power. We know that when we get into the scriptures, like when we actually get into the scriptures, start engaging in holy conversation and going through these precepts, it's normal to us, but even at some points, the spirit has certain points being brought out that you think like, damn, like look at how far deep we are in this conversation. These are things that we're talking about that are out of this world, but we have a grasp or an understanding of it, and it's backed by scriptures.
We only got to the fourth verse. We started. Fourth verse of the scripture. We started it.
But we understand that, but that's why we're able to do that, because we understand what it's about. You know, we understand the ins and outs, the precepts that link to it. The Lord blessed us to actually understand this book. If you actually think about that, nobody else on the planet Earth understands the Bible like we do. The whole book. We know what links with what. We know when to go to Revelation, when to go to Genesis, when to go to what was happening at the time of this prophet. Why did he write this? We have that understanding.
Yeah, prophets that had visions I didn't even understand.
Exactly.
Daniel, the 8th chapter, he said at the end, my cognition, I thought about it, but I couldn't get understanding on it. And these are men that are revered to this day. We're reading about what they wrote, but we understand more than they did. That's why the Elder Torah always said that. We understand more than what they understood.
We got the whole thing. Well, they have a portion that they had, but we got everything they had with the understanding.
Daniel will be coming to us. Like, yeah. We're looking at Daniel. We're looking at us like, yeah.
And that's why he said that he saw the thing that stood so stiff before the knees of the Lord, right? Because to stand so stiff, he's like, damn, like you believe so much in what you know, all right? And you teach it. Maybe say they're born. You know, you believe so wholeheartedly in what you speak so wholeheartedly in what you believe in, like the Apostle Paul said, and it was quoted in the book of Psalms. You know, I believe, so therefore I have spoken. That's right. You know, so that's where we stand. We first believed. All of us, our journey always started by believing. It started with the name, and then it started with everything else that comes with that name. You see, we understand what we understand because it comes from the spirit power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. It's not no Jesus Christ and all this bullshit. Jesus Christ and all this bullshit is what? Confusion. That's why the typical Christian knows nothing. You might as well just put the scriptures down. Put it all down all together, man. And don't worry about it. Because everything you know is not going to lead to salvation anyway. All right? You're just playing games. That's all you're doing. Okay? You don't understand the true essence of what the scriptures are actually talking about. And you fight against your own selves, man. We tell you the Lord is coming back for the Israelites, and you niggas get all upset. Oh, what you mean? Well, he's coming back for the elect. Well, it says here that all nations can be saved. You dumb niggas, man. You dumbass niggas. You don't want to rule. You don't want to be special. For the first time in your existence, all right, you don't want to experience what it means to be a true son of the Most High.
Well, they were made to be average.
Right.
That's what they were made to be. That's the best that they can strive for.
Well, that's why the Lord ain't giving them name. That's why Yahweh Shai said, "You time to become where the true worshipers, right? True worshiping in spirit and in truth." That was a time period that was going to come. That's why He gave the name Jesus. Because imagine if He actually had Yahweh Shai written among Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, everybody, you would have to destroy it off again. Y'all over here, y'all wild with my name right now. That's why He had to give them that. But He said, what? Now I'm going to have to bring my name back on the earth, and that's going to give it to who? My true worshipers. That's the secret. You know? He said, well, I shall do nothing but reveal my secrets to the servants and prophets. The best secrets is what? Knowing the name of the Lord. And once you know His name, then you get what? The understanding of the prophecies. You understand everything that the book is about. I got a quick precept. Malachi chapter 3. Hey, and that's why I said about the ones that do know this, they're going to be being with many stripes. The ones that actually do know the name of the Lord. And a lot of you men that don't actually teach the name of the Lord, that you saying that you can call them that. You ain't no worse case than a nigga up the street, man. Because you actually know what the name of the Lord is. And you're refusing to actually call upon him. And then teaching people, you're going to be the least in the kingdom. The actual, these one body in Yahweh Shai, the wicked that's in IUIC, you're going to be lower than a nigga that was an adulterer, lower than not a harlot because she's a woman, but lower than a murderer. That's horrible, man.
Yeah, it's like how like people in a gang will look at a traitor versus a cop. Like they don't like cops, like, as you call them, right? Yeah. But they'll look at a traitor far worse than they would look at a quote unquote cop, because you were once a part of them, and then you turned around knowing better, right? Gave up all these secrets and turned around and basically just out.
Right, but the Lord tells us that what? That ye shall have no other God besides the Most High, besides Yahweh Himself. He said that you not have His name in vain. Okay, you shall not call His name in vain. So when you say all these different names that you try to give to the Lord and you give all this disrespectful shit, you're breaking the law, bro. And that's just breaking the law, but you're clearly just rebelling against the Heavenly Father. Straight up, just like that to His face, man. Like Mr. Paul said, there's going to be many stripes upon your backs. Like the scripture in the book of Proverbs says what? That stripes are made for the backs of fools, man. You know? So that's what's coming. All right, and this is stripes from our master, Yahweh Shai, when He comes back. You saw what happened to Helen Goris, man. All right? That was amazing. And then you're going to be called least in the kingdom because you're teaching men to do so too. You say that His name is Christ and all the different shit, you know? Man.
Malachi chapter 3, verse 16. It says, because we're talking about the scriptures and understanding the book, it says, then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it.
Often. Right? That goes into that building. The Lord hearkened. So the Lord hears everything. Just like when it was Miriam and Aaron making fun of Moses, and it says the Lord heard it.
Sure. And it says the book of remembrance. You know, it says the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before Him for them that feared the Lord.
That reminds me of the king, right? When you read about was it Xerxes,
Yep.
where it said that he had his servants read. They had a book of all the records, and they would read it to him every night. And in there is where you found out the paper that Mordecai had done, right? So just like that, he also had a book of remembrance. Like they would have these books that would hold these records in there of all these things that have happened, you know, that they could get quote unquote briefed on it. So that's just what that reminds me.
I think it was when he allowed Israel to build the temple again. I think it's in the book of Esther, not Esther, Ezra.
It was on Darius.
Darius.
Check the records to find out that Cyrus had even given that decree for them to
Right.
do it. Yeah.
Right. So those records, and that's when he allowed it to, it was written, I got to fulfill it. How much more Yahweh? He wrote this. He said, I'm the man that can't lie. So you got to fulfill this, the Lord's promise. You know, and that's why the scripture tells you, give him no rest. This is what we're crying out to the Lord, reminding him, hey, you said this, you got a promise, you know, and we are actually the living proof of the promise of the Lord. You're my witness. You're my witnesses. Yep. It says, for a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord. So even this book, even though it's published throughout the whole world, it was really only written for the elect. Everybody else was condemned. That's why Yahushua is called he should be the rising and falling of many. It says, and that thought upon his name. Going back to what? The significance of the name. Because the name of the Lord is in the book, but it's not saying that it's not actually written in English, you know? So you got the Lord to have everybody calling him God or Lord or Jehovah. Like, you don't actually, the ones that this book is actually for is the ones that are that actually fear the Lord. They don't fear the Lord. Because if you fear the Lord, you would think upon his name. Who are you fearing? If somebody wants fear, like, I fear that, who is that man's name? Oh, it don't matter his name. No, it matters. Like, it matters. Right.
You got some jobs where when the boss comes in, one of those powerful that everyone knows his reputation. Whatever he says goes. You know what I'm saying? People know it's like, oh, he said that? Oh, yeah, listen, I didn't suggest anything to him. I was saying, people correct themselves when they even make an example with that person's name in there, and it sounds wrong.
Let's say you get in trouble at work, and somebody's like, oh, yo, he want to talk to you. And you say, who? It don't matter. You might not be afraid. But if it's like, oh, he want to talk to you, then it's like, who? Oh, Michael, X1. That's the CEO. Oh, shit. Yeah, now you scared. But if you're somebody, you want to talk to you, it's just a janitor, you ain't going to be afraid. Yeah, I'll talk to him when I want to talk to you. And we telling you that the creator want to talk to you. It says, and they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in the day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. And that's through what? Through Yahushua. That's through the mercy. The Lord going to spare the ones that what? That often think upon his name. The ones that fear him. So that means if he going to spare them, that means it's for people that he not sparing. It says, and then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, and between him that serveth God and him that serveth him not. So they gonna know the difference. Because right now people don't know the difference. They say they count what we're doing as madness, right? Wisdom Solomon 5th chapter. They have us in derision. They're saying that we're stupid. But you gonna know the difference of why we did what we were doing and why you didn't do this like it. You're gonna see the difference on the significance of actually fearing the Lord's name.
Even with Jeremiah, when the Babylonians hit, Jeremiah was pretty much exempt. I forgot the name of the general. I think it might have been I forgot his name, but basically, yeah. Him. He actually gave Jeremiah the option. He said, "Look, you can come with us. We'll treat you right, or you can stay here. Really up to you." Mind you, this is the general that's putting Jacob captive and taking him over to Babylon. But why? The Lord put Jeremiah in that position. You know, but when Jeremiah was first prophesying, and he did it his whole life because he started as a boy, as a youth, and they put him in the stocks, and that shit it's not fun. When they put you in the stocks, that's them. That's like you'll see like back in the day they had those wooden plank things where they'll put your neck and they'll put your two hands in there. But in this time they had ones where you would sit and they would lock your feet. Your feet would be extended locked and your hands would be extended locked. And it doesn't sound painful at first until you go a couple of hours or even days where you can't bend your knees and you're stuck in there. So they threw him in there. They threw him in a pit full of dung and all of that. Because at that point, you even have people coming up against him. I forgot the name of there was one guy who really heavily came against Jeremiah. But pretty much they didn't in their time see him as we see him now. The same way they don't see us as they will in the future.
So much you a little kid. Why you turn us? If people see us young men, they think, oh, you guys are insignificant. You should get a life. Nigga, this is our life. It's to warn you of the life you live in and what's going to end up when your life is over. But most people don't care. And that's all done by design, because like we always say, the Lord wants to send us to a different land. They'll all be ready to listen. But over here, where you wanna hear the correction, nah. This the typical land where Jacob's always rebelling.
But you know what's heavy with that? Jeremiah was prophesying right around the time when the Babylonians were now coming up into power. So for him to tell them that, look, they're gonna come up and they're gonna come in and take over this land. You had Jacob, it was going right in the back of their heads. And then he was telling them, look, just surrender. When they come, just surrender and you're gonna be fine. And you had that double-minded this guy, what's his name? Zedekiah, I believe that was his name. Yeah, he would go back and forth. He would listen that he would not, and he would listen that he would not. And what ended up happening to him? He saw his sons get put to death before his eyes, and then the Babylonian king took out his eyeballs.
I say you saw.
Yeah, and then threw his ass in jail.
I want to read this in NLT. I got 3 verse 17. It says, "They will be my people," saith the Lord of heaven's armies. On the day when I act in judgment, they will be my own people. They will be my own special treasure. I will spare them as a father spared an obedient child. Then you will again see the difference between the righteous and the wicked, between those who serve God and those who do not. See, like I said, right now people don't see the difference. They don't see the difference in between serving God and not serving God. So the Lord said, when I act in judgment, you're going to see why it's important to be obedient to me. Yep.
He said like he serves an obedient son, right? Now imagine you got a son that always does what you tell him to do. Like they always do good. And then one day they do something real bad. Maybe you get a call from school and say your son got into a fight or something like that. You ain't going wild out. Even if your son just lost it. Some guy was talking shit to him and he just lost his cool and he got into it with him. The way that you would go about it with your son versus your son that's always getting in trouble, always rebellious, X, Y, and Z. The second you hear that, you already taking off the bell. You hearing the full call spoken speech, you already unbuckling your fellowship. Wait. You know what I'm saying? Because you already know what's about to happen. But if it's your son that's always obedient, you're more willing to pardon him. And that, you're not even hesitant too much on that. Like, you lucky this one. Because you're like, you know what? You always do what you got to do. So I'm going to cut you that slack. So hey, I'm going to spare you. Because we're going to talk about the belt that the Lord is going to bring. That's what he's doing, right?
Hey, it's crazy too, because that belt is going to come as a form of fire. Because ultimately, I remember when this year started, it was a trend of a lot of wildfires, yeah. And we, through the Spirit, we're like, yo, this might be the year of the fire. Scriptures talk about fire being on the earth, right? When you go into that word fire, it goes into the Greek word pyro, and now you got what's called the pyrocene, and it talks about, I believe, Revelation the 17th chapter, if I'm not mistaken. It talks about a fire that's being brought on earth. Okay, Revelation the 13th chapter also talks about these devils having power to bring fire in the midst of men. So we're seeing these things happen. The heat that scorched men on the earth is all part of it. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, it's to set the tone for what the Lord is going to do to America, Babylon the Great. Okay? You got it.
This is George 2, verse 1. It says, "For the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. It is a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spreads upon the mountain."
Zephaniah chapter 1, verse 14.
says the great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteth greatly. Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Like you were mentioned over there, you got that? All right. Verse 16, it says, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. So I was saying that you mentioned about the trumpet, right? And that this precept also goes into that stuff. So it's sure you gotta link the precept, you know? It's a note.
And the trumpet is being blown in this fashion. It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 13, start at verse 6.
That's right.
It says, Howl ye! And that's what the trumpet sounds. For the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrow shall take hold of them.
And I always emphasize that that's not optional, right? Because it's going to take hold of you. Whenever you're afraid of something, you don't choose to be afraid. When your legs start shaking, you can't control that, right?
It says, they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord Yahweh cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
There you go. Oh, yeah, with that belt, yeah.
Climate change. On the same thing, we go to the definition of climate. It says the temper of renewal in the spirit. So there's a change in the vibration, basically. You know, that's what the Lord. That's why Yahweh Shah said that. I come to set fire on the earth, and what will I but already be kindled? There's a change in the atmosphere. That's what it said. The atmosphere. You see, and a lot of people are not really paying attention to that. But as it becomes more and more intensified, then you're going to actually start feeling the change. You're going to feel the atmosphere, the ambiance, what else says, the attitude, the aura, everything's going to change. Ultimately, leading up to the actual day of the Lord. Because that's going to be, I always say, that's going to literally instill, you can't forget that. You know, that's going to actually change the way that people's minds think after that. It's like a hard rewiring of every single living creature.
Like before storm, that the clouds get dark, the wind starts to pick up, the weather changes, and that's the storm finally hits. So that change, yeah.
He's trying to do a change to bring his NWO, but the Lord got him in a trick bag, you know, because the real climate change is coming, man.
That's why Pastor P is telling that what we're waiting for a new heaven and a new earth. We're in dwelling righteousness. So this climate that we see now is going to change. This state of living, you know, is going to change, and it's going to be a complete change. That's why Ezra also mentioned that what for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So right after him, it's a transition. Like they say, oh, we're in the transition or not, but they don't understand that. According to the book of Job, while they're doing all this shit, that's when the Lord says, okay, now it's my time for my sons to take over this shit. All right? And it begins with Yahushua when he comes back down. You see, before the actual storm, there's the winds that pick up. And sometimes those winds are very destructive before the actual storm itself. And then you got two troubles that you got to face. So that's what's coming. The chaos and then the so-called order, you know, because Esau is always opposite. His so-called way of bringing order is going to be way more, it's going to be worse than the chaos itself. We're here to stop, we're the government, we're here to bring safety and all that. But meanwhile, they're destroying people, killing people, sea camps, you know, all hell breaking loose, man. But there you go.
It's funny how the Lord got Esau saying like words like great reset, you know, reshaping the future. All those things are actually going to take place, but he thinks it's going to be through his means, his way. The Lord will actually show you, the real changing, the real great reset the real reshaping the future. And that's going to be by way of Yahushua and Israel getting on top. Because it's not going to be like a long out process of the transition of the kingdom. It's once the Lord comes, it's over. Like it's not a battle of, they've been fighting and going back and forth for 7 years, 8 years. Not. It's a speedy riddance. It's you was in power and now you're not. You was in power and now you're not. And now we are. And we know, and we're gonna, it's not that we're gonna have to learn how to be in power, it's the Lord gonna put it in us. We're gonna know how to rule. We ain't gonna have to go to study class. Nah. Yeah.
You read articles and it's so many errors. You're like, what the fuck? It's just like, so who's writing all this shit? That AI bullshit is bugging the fuck out, man. And guess what? That's why we're in a state now, which we call techno-paganism. That's what you're seeing. Esau is using technology to bring about paganism at an all-time level. I was watching the elders Yashuamba's video, and I was like, yo, this is straight up techno-paganism, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just like back in the time of the Babylonians, the Greeks, the Romans, even prior to that, the Tower of Babel, they're trying to do the same shit now. You see? But this time they think, okay, after all these empires, this time it's going to work. It's not. You got CERN and all that shit telling you lies. Oh, we get entities that speak to us. So we could use AI. No, you ain't going to use AI for shit. Okay?
Most time give him AI.
There you go. And he's going to use AI to destroy you.
Yeah,
all right?
Go into the word. The Hebrew word.
Right. AI, it means what? A heap of destruction, a heap of ruins. And when you look at what they plan to use AI for, it's all destruction, man. It's all destruction.
They are the son of perdition.
The son of perdition, which is the son of destruction.
Isaiah 47, verse, I'm going to start at 10. It says, For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me. Therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth. And mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off. And desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou mayest be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. So, hey, the Lord is telling Esau Babylon, right? Then Babylon is Esau's, spearhead, right? Spearhead. He's telling Babylon that what? That destruction will come upon you, and you're not even going to know where it's coming from. Because remember, when Yahushua comes, it's not like they're going to be able to prepare, like, or see him like we know when a troop or army is coming to invade you, you can see it come far off. That's why you have the watchtower, right? Esau is trying to do that with the telescopes and all that, and the Lord might let Esau see one thing, see a chariot here and there, but they're never coming as an actual army. They're just showing themselves, But when they actually come, it's going to happen. You're not even going to. It's going to come upon you suddenly. It's not like you're going to be able to prepare for it. So that's going to even be something that their army is going to be taken by surprise. You getting shocked like it's oh shit. But how you going to prepare for that? You're not going to. The Lord not going to give you time to prepare for it. You going to try to scramble your jets. Try to go up and say he's going to let you. Come. You say because Scripture says in what was that 2 Ezra 13 chapter? That he came. Right? And it said he turned his countenance, everything trembled. So he's gonna let you come because it has to be that war. Lord putting on the show. You're like, come fight me. He's inviting you. Bring it. Yeah, he's inviting you to the fight.
That's because they declare themselves as God in this verse.
He said, I am, and none else beside. So Lord, like, okay, if you said I am, I said I am. Let's find out who is.
You remember Coming to America when Sammy was acting like he was the prince? He said, if you're the prince, then who am I?
That's it. Because that's how Esau, remember, he said he opposed him and exalted himself as above all things that's called the Most High. Of all things that's called the Most High is what? Nature. So Esau, Harari said it, right? God created inorganic. Organic thing. We created inorganic. So now he's actually striving with against the maker. But he's saying that, no, you didn't make me. I'm the maker. I'm actually going to make I'm going to take creation and make my own creation out of the creation that you made. I'm going to make it better. So that's why he says nothing else beside me, because ain't nobody else. You got all other nations ruling. No other nation say, yo, I'm about to make life. That's what this devil is saying. I'm about to make life. Remember, life is from the breath of the Lord. What's that in Joel? If the Lord takes his breath, we'll find that. If the Lord takes his breath out of the earth, everything turns back to dust. He said, if I take my breath out of the earth, life consists because of Yahweh. That's it. Everything is actually the spirit of the Lord. Every living thing is the spirit of the Lord. So now Esau is saying, "No, I am." So well, okay, let's find out. And how you gonna find out? You gotta find out by war.
That's like it's a cause and effect. In the universe, everything in it is an effect of the Most High being the cause. So without the universe, like you sitting there, like you're experiencing the effects of the cause, but you're saying that the cause doesn't exist. That means, how can you exist? Your very existence shows that there is a creator. Because we're not all the same. There's right hand and left hand, just like he says he's created as to Eve, to bring that perfect balance. So you do what the creator said for you to do, and then you turn around and say, oh, that Jesus Christ is fake news. You know, there is no God up in the heavens somewhere like the Bible says. You know, like, so what the fuck are you saying? What are you trying to say? You see? And the world is almost like everyone is turning a blind eye, and everyone's just going along with the plan. Like, yo, they're coming out and declaring themselves to be the gods on the earth. And I said in my video the other day, when we were kids, when we hear a regular person say some shit like that, we look at you and, yo, you a devil. You a devil. You really that rebellious to call yourself God? You know? And that's the mindset of these so-called elites of this world. They literally came out and declared themselves to be gods on this earth. They said, listen, we are going to be gods on this earth. And if you try to stop us or get in our way, we're going to kill you. That's what they said. Okay? And who do you think they're talking to? They're talking to Jake, man. Start with the prophets. Okay, because we're the only ones who are telling them, listen, we're not looking to be equal with you. We're here to tell you that you're going down and we're coming up. So it's not an equal equality and all this bullshit, all-inclusive madness. We're not looking to be equal. Okay? We're looking to enslave you devils just like you did to us. But this time you're going to get a double, as the scripture says, man. We're going to instill righteousness back here on this earth. Look at the world in which, look at the state of the world right now. Who wants to live like this? So the Lord is sending his men out to set the tone, because when he comes back, it's going to be what? The physical manifestation of the gods on this earth. Proverbs 29:2. Okay? That's going to be Esau's misery, man. All right?
I got a quick precept. It's the book of Job, chapter 34, verse 14. It says, if he set his heart upon man, if he gather unto himself his spirit and his breath, all flesh shall perish together, and man shall turn again unto dust. Job chapter 34, verse 14. If he set his heart upon man, if he gather unto himself his spirit and his breath,
His spirit and his breath.
all flesh shall perish together, and man shall turn again unto dust.
Turn again. So right there lets you know that, hey, the scriptures, we came from the earth, right? All man is just earth. The Lord said he made man out of the dust of the earth. And the reason why we have being, the reason why we are beings, is because of the spirit of the Lord. And if he took that off, if he took his spirit back, everything would just disintegrate back to nothingness. There will be no actual life. But here Esau is saying, no, I'm God. I can do what you did, but I'm gonna do it better.
It's like the point you brought up, and you said basically the technology is going to have flaws. And then you brought up when they said they're the most high. The thing about Esau technology, I remember I used to work with Edom. He said, look, anything that's man-made will eventually break down. So now the country, Esau's world, is getting more and more digital. So that means it's going to start having more and more hiccups, more and more breakdowns. Think about it. Oh, the computer's down. Now you can't use debit card. You can't use this. You can't use that. You can't use that. When that's all, everything's getting more and more digitized, which means there's going to be more and more problems.
Hey, even food. Remember, food is something that is organic that you eat. Well, it's supposed to be, right? But now they got something labeled organic food. So we're eating, genetically modified, which is man-made. But now they're just coming out with your actual meats, your actual foods are going to be actually man-made. Everything that you eat is going to be man-made. So if as the brother said, if everything's man-made is going to break down, you're putting things that are automatically just going to just destroy you into your body because it's being made by man. It's not just any man. It's the devil. It's the man of sin. You putting the things made by the man of sin, the son of perdition, into your body. That's why the scripture Lord said that if he didn't shorten the days, there'll be no elect, there'll be no one, no less saved. He is the vessel of wrath fitted to destruction.
It's crazy because talk about the judgments. We talk about like the judgments. So we start at second Esdras, chapter 9. The point is at 15, but I'm sorry, 13. And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, and when, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. Then answered I and said, I have said before, now do speak, and will speak it also hereafter, that there be many more of them which perish than of them which shall be saved. So basically, that's pretty self-explanatory. But he basically said, look, in a nutshell, don't worry about it. We're going to get judged. Just worry about it. Righteous going to be delivered, man. He said there should be many more that perish than shall be saved. And who's a little bit going to be saved is the elect, the remnant of Israel, the very few of one nation. That's it. That's all the Lord. That's the whole thing that the Lord is dealing with, man. That's a small save. That's what Yahushua came on the earth for. He didn't come in the world for everyone. He came in the world for the select few of one nation of people, which is the nation of Israel.
Came for the gods.
He came for his brothers. Yo, think about it, Yahushua is our he's the big brother of all Israel, starting with the elect. He's big bro. He's him. When he comes back, ain't gonna be no question of what it is. He is under his father, from his father. His father gave it to him. His father gave him the blueprint of where he wants the world to be ran and how he wants his power inflicted on the earth through Yahushua. That's how the Lord shows his power.
You gotta think about it, because if the Lord came for everybody, then why he come in a nation? You know, why did he come to an actual nation, a nation of people? He is the first creator, but he came, he said it behooves him to be made like unto his brethren. So who is his brethren? The other sons of God. You know? So when he returns and he establishes a kingdom, who's going to be ruling in the kingdom? The sons of God. The nation of people that are the actual ones that are completely separate from all the heathen. Like the Lord literally created Israel as the earth was created, I should say, for Israel, for the sons of God to rule. That's why it says, be concerned about how the righteous shall be saved and when. The righteous are actually who would be starting with the elect, and it's through the elect, the whole nation. But the world was created for the righteous to rule, because the righteous are the actual sons of God. Everybody else, they're just heathens. They're just other creation, other people, as Second Esdras said. As for the other people that also come from Adam, now I said they are nothing. Why? Because they're not gods. You know, they're not gods, and that's why Esau got the complex that he has, because he's literally the closest nation of people to the sons of God. But he's just the complete opposite. That's the beauty of the Lord. That's the balance. Second Esdras.
As a great people and a strong, there has not been ever the like, neither shall be any more after it.
You know, with those missiles. Yep. All right. Because the kind of missiles they have now, ain't nobody that predated these people today had that technology to do that. All right. Nor shall be after. Meaning, after these missiles are used and this place is destroyed, ain't nobody going to be building nuclear missiles like that anymore. Okay, it's a one-time use. Yeah. It's a war. It's it. Yeah. Right.
It says, even to the years of many generations.
Yeah. So for as long as we're on here, which is going to be forever, there's going to be no more concept of nuclear missiles. Okay. Yeah.
Scripture says that it's our people.
Why are they going to do it? Remember, man's been on earth, there's no wars, right? Except for the time of Solomon. But you go to war because you have an idea that you can gain power. War starts from an idea of conquering. But when the conquerors are on top, and they're actually in gods that are living, you can't really think that you can conquer these gods. So it's like, we might as well not just, we might as well just turn these into some, like, what, he might as well just be just plowshares. Because you won't be feared. Like I said earlier, you won't be feared into obedience. You won't be feared into serving us.
Also, too, the missiles are Esau's highest form of his sword. That's
That's his highest fire.
his highest fire. Exactly. So, being that he is in the epitome or the epic of his rulership, of course, that's going to be the one thing that he uses to threaten the nations. You know, the scriptures talk about the hammer of the earth. You know, so he uses the military, and now he's advanced his technology so much, his sword so much, from just Christopher Columbus to now, freaking Robert Oppenheimer type shit.
And spiritually, that movie just came out. And what did Robert Oppenheimer quote? The God is Shiva. Now am I become death.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't know the whole quote, but yeah, because it all goes back to Satanism. Destroy the world. But who world are you? You're literally destroying the worlds of the heathen, because you're the Topes. You know.
Well, you pretty much already said it off memory. Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds. It says the line from the Hindu sacred text Bhagavad Gita has come to define Robert Oppenheimer, but its meaning is more complex than many realize. Look at this. A picture of the mushroom cloud.
So this is a part of the Lord's story. We're literally reading about the missiles. You think the Lord had him say that by mistake? That was actually like that's a very very detailed part of this whole prophetic events that's taking place. He could have said anything. He could have said, now, I made this so that we can never actually have to go to war because we have this thing. So everybody, he made him say, I'm the destroyer of worlds.
That is dirt.
No, he said, now I'm not the destroyer of worlds, because the Lord had Esau create this technology, that ICBM nuclear missile, in order to end his world. His world is going to be ended in the worlds. It said worlds, the worlds of heathen rulership. Because after the 10 toes, it said the Lord will set up a kingdom that will, the God of heaven shall set up a kingdom that should not be given to other people. There was no other statue after that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed after the 10 toes was destroyed. It was just that mountain that broke that rock that broke in the toes. Then he set up the kingdom of Israel, and that's it.
Yeah. There's some stuff in it. It says Oppenheimer, the subject of a new film from director Christopher Nolan, died at the age of 62 in Princeton, New Jersey on February 28, 1967. As war
You got Amalek on top. Amalek is the one that calls himself the Lord's people going back to try to get the blessing. But knowing that, because it says there that Robert Oppenheimer was a non-observant ish, and most of the actual, actually all of them, all of the actual central bank elites are non-observant. You know, they call themselves the ish people, but they actually don't follow any of the customs of it.
Why would you call it?
Exactly. But they try to, take our identity. Most Isaiah, Psalms 83rd chapter. Try to call up Israel from being in it. Why would you, if the Bible's not real, if the stories, if the Lord is not real, why do you even observe? Why do you even call yourself an ish? Why would you even do that?
Any other religion in the world, any type of people, any identity, you chose that specific one. Because you know the power that comes with that. Why do you target specifically the people? Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Why specifically us? And you continue to do. So-called corporate America, you know what we're talking about. These prison systems, all these different, the whole system is built and designed against Jake for a reason. By the same people who stole Jake's identity. The
Lord going to use himself, use Esau to pay his own. By that sword thou shalt live. Well, what did Yahweh Shah say? He that liveth by the sword shall die by the sword. And he said, by that sword thou shalt live. So you're going to die by it.
And Esau, when you really look at his history, what was the reason why how did he keep people in line? Through his violence, through his sword. Because there's been times in history where Esau was banished. They were throughout history, they were kicked to the damn mountains. There's times where they were a small nation, right? When they came out of the caves in 1453 AD to sack Constantinople. They weren't powerful. Their weaponry made them powerful. Why don't nobody invade the U.S. now? Because of its weaponry. That's why you best believe 9/11 was an inside job. Because
Oh, you can say that?
you can't say that. Oh.
It talks about being bold in the Lord. So just the algorithms now, the way Esau set it up, they got the AI picking up on the truth now. They mislabel it, they call it medical misinformation, they call it spiritual security, they call it they call it anti-Semitism, right? So there's a lot of these different names that they set up to what? To demonize the truth. So you can't even speak the truth no more. That's one thing Esau's doing psychologically. But he's using that to what set up where people can receive this truth. Because now, whatever the elder was going to say, somebody might be tuned in ready to hear for the first time. But Esau, that's the trick, so now you can't hear it. Unless, the Lord endows you with the spirit to really, find out something.
I don't know if you're saying it like that. But that goes to show you how the Lord is taking the famine of the word, because you can't say certain things right now. But we already got it. We already do it. That has to let you know that the elect got to be sealed. Because the ones that need to know it already know it.
I was speaking the code. Because know the code, know it.
Yep. That's why I said there should be a famine of the hearing. I always say that, the famine of the hearing of the word of the Lord. Because the word of the Lord is what? Truth, right? That's what it is. So now Esau is having a actual a war against truth. Bro. So if we can't say the truth, then we can't say, if you can't hear the truth, then that means you can't hear the actual words of the Most High, of Yahweh Shem El Shai. And if you can't hear the words of Yahweh Shem El Shai, then how should you get faith? The faith comes by hearing. You got I think you're going to get the you should buy so you want to get that? He wasn't going
To the
All right, it's what? It says, "I'm famine from hearing the words of the Father." Right? This is the book of Romans, chapter 10, and verse 13. It says, "For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua shall be saved. How then shall they call
So
on
that
him?"
means that you got to actually know the name in order to call upon it. You know, that's the song. That's the song. How about Hashem Yahushua? That's what's going to actually deliver you. Knowing His name, having His name, having confidence in His name. Right?
Verse 14 says, "How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher?"
No, that's why the Lord got the message. Because how are you going to actually hear it? How are you going to actually believe it if you never heard it? You know? But how you going to hear it? How you going to know it? I mean, how you going to hear it if there's nobody actually saying it? That's why He raised up the prophets. That's why Scripture says the Lord said, "I shall raise you up in the last day." And they that often talk one to another, they shall and that feared His name and thought upon His name. Baruch the 2nd chapter.
Continue, verse 15, it says, "And how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things." All right, and it's a very good thing to see this place, America, Babylon the Great, get completely decimated by Yahweh Yahushua, man. All right, not only is that a good thing for the whole entire planet, but it's a good thing for the nation of Israel as a whole. Okay, starting with the elect. Okay, it's a beautiful thing to finally get Yahushua to be on the throne in righteousness to bring this whole earth back in peace again, man. That's why it says what? It said what? How beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace. And peace is only going to exist when Yahushua is sitting on that throne. The Prince of Peace, Melchizedek. That's right. All right.
And it's beautiful because what was the red dragon? What was the power that the red dragon was given? To take peace out of the earth. And how do you take peace out of the earth? By the sword. You know? That's how so what Yahweh Shai about to come and do. That's what it says in righteousness doeth he judge and make war. There's going to be one more war to establish peace. Esau never went to war to establish peace. He always went to war to gain the fatness of the, to actually destroy things. You know? To still kill the devil cometh not, but to still kill and destroy. The destroyer of worlds.
All this stupid little foreign policy things. This country's doing this. Oh, we're gonna come in foreign aid. Next thing you know, the whole country's decimated. Look at Libya. Look at Egypt. Look at all these countries that they always Esau. He's a man. Look at Iraq. Look at Afghanistan. Wherever they go, they leave a trail of death. All of Africa. You know, look what it did to our nation. You know what I'm saying? And they're proud enough to go to our land, and look what they do over there. Our Lord was born in the land of Israel, man. Okay? And now look what they do over there, man. King David sat in the throne in Bethlehem. Look what they're doing over there, man. In Jerusalem. All right? So they destroyed the heritage of the Lord. All right, putting us down. Okay? Destroying our land. And now they want to what? They want to set themselves as to be gods that we got to worship them, because as a God, you got to have laws, right? And the scriptures tell you that the Israelites are the only people on the earth that have a law that's contrary to everybody else's. That means that we're not going to bow down because we have our own power, man. And he's coming back down very soon. Let the wars begin.
And you have chosen to make war with a God. Because you know that Esau, they call it the whole colonization period, right? He went basically and established garrisons throughout the whole earth. You know, imperialism. He established gap, but he allowed most of the majority of these countries or these nations to keep their land. He just established their rule. They got to live by their rule. Israel's the only one that he said, "No, y'all can't even have y'all land. Y'all can't even have a sovereignty. Y'all can't even have a place to call home. We're gonna take you and bring you captives in another land." That was what through the prophecy, man. Lord said that we was going to be in a land that even us or our fathers know. See, the Elamites, they may abide by the ways of culture, not so much culture, but the ways of Esau, but they got their own land. They can go back in history thousands of years and be like, yeah, we've always been in these lands. Moab can do that. Israel, we know that we haven't always been in America. We got brought over here. Capped through what? The cargo, once again, a part of the Lord's movie. You should go into Egypt again with ships. And the Lord said, well, you gonna stay there until I come and deliver you. You not nobody's up. Esau never gonna give you your land back. He never gonna give you a place to call your home. So I'm not to bring you back and bring you back into your land. Baruch, you got that Baruch too? Like, I mean,
Baruch 2 verse 29. If ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them.
hey, when you think of minorities, who you think of? Jake. Why is Jake only called a minority? Why are we only called minority? And Esau is called what? The majority, right? If we're minorities, they're the majority, and the other heathens are what? They just the other people, right? But we're minorities because we're a small people, not in a nation, not in the sense of a numbers, but in the sense of influence, importance, power. We don't have any. We have a minority amount of power. Really, no power. We don't have any power. The power that Israel got in the world, they really get it from Esau. First.
But I will scatter them, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
And how are we going to remember ourselves? We're supposed to remember. That's why this is great, because the Lord from the beginning had a remnant. He had an elect that he was going to have throughout the generations, that he was going to show mercy to Israel through them. You know, that's why it tells you, I believe, in Wisdom of Solomon, that the faithful that he made. Say it again. Yeah, he created with the faithful in the womb. See. So it says in the land of their captivity, they're going to remember themselves. And like I said earlier, Israel's the only one that are in the actual land of their captivity. Moab is in his land. Ham is in their land. We're the only ones that's in the land of our captivity, but we're remembering ourselves.
And shall know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, and they shall praise me.
I would give them a heart and ears to hear. And we all say this. None of us was looking for the Most High, right? Yahweh shall say that you have not chosen me, but I have chosen you. The Lord actually put it in us to hear this word, because Lord willing, we are the vessels that will be of mercy. That He's going to show His mercy.
And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before the Lord.
Okay. It said they shall think upon my name. Knowing the name of Yahweh is, that means that we can actually study like there's nothing impossible with the Lord. There's nothing too hard for him. What we want, nobody can actually give this to us on the earth. We want sovereignty, we want righteousness, we want we want vengeance. You know, we want peace, we want our nation to be healed. No one can actually give this stuff. So now we got to think upon, well, who can be it? He can do this. So this is what we're thinking now. This is why this is always I should be able to deliver us. This is what we're thinking about. And that's why he told Moses, this is my name forever. Because you're going to know why he is. We're going to know, we already know it. But he's going to show it. We know it, but he's going to show it why he is. And with that name, obviously comes, there's the ... afterwards.
And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers.
That didn't happen in 1948.
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yep.
And they shall be lords of it.
Yep.
And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished.
Right.
And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their God, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them.
Go. Right, that's plain. You know, after return of Yahushua, after the destruction of America, when the Lord said, "Come out of my people," there's never going to be a time period where we will have to go into captivity ever again. Hey, the iniquity of thy punishment is accomplished. You got it, man. We broke the laws. The Lord had to punish us, but He also gave a promise that He ain't gonna punish us forever. And Yahushua came to seal that promise, because once Yahushua died, his blood, his sacrifice. That's why He said it is finished. Now we just got to finish the process of the punishment, but understand that the promise is going to be implemented because of what Yahushua did. That's why He's going to be served. That's why He's going to be worshipped. That's why He is worshipped, because He brought the promise to Israel, the better promises.
Okay, so bad. So this is Micah chapter 4. This is Micah chapter 4, and I'm sorry, verse 10. And it's actually this chapter when brothers. This is a chapter when brothers mention how they're gonna beat their swords into plowshares. You know what I'm saying? But Micah chapter 4, verse 10. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. Daughter of Zion means the nation of Israel synonymously. When you see that daughter, like singular, it's talking about the nation of Israel. Like a woman in travail, for now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thy enemy. Who's the number one enemy? Is Esau Edom. He's the one that's ruling the daughter of Babylon. He is the one. When it said, who is he? It's them, the elites. These central bankers, those are the ones that's got their hands on us, man, and continue and got it until Yahushua comes back. He ain't gonna stop oppressing us until Yahushua comes back. Verse 11. Now also many nations are gathered against thee that say, let her be defiled and let our eye look upon Zion. So these other nations partaking a little bit too. It's not just Esau, Edom. All these other nations had a part in our downfall, man. They all had a part. Moab, Ishmael, Elam, Ammon, all of them, man. They all had a part in our downfall, and they all gonna see this redemption that's mentioned. And it says, verse 12. Here's, but they know not the thoughts of the Lord, neither understand they His counsel. We shall gather them as the sheaves into the floor. Arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion. Now I remember I looked that up. That was at the time of the threshing, like I think it's for the crops and whatnot. And it says, arise and thresh, O daughter of Zion, for I will make thine horn iron, and I will make thy hooves brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people, and I will consecrate their gain unto the Lord, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. Even if it goes a part of I think that's what Obadiah said, they should possess their possessions. We will possess these heathens, man, just like they possess us. You can't just say in history, like, you enslaved us, y'all all made money of our downfall, and that's it. And the Lord, and we're happy now. We know that we're the chosen, and now we know why it went down like that, and now we know what's going to happen after that. The Lord said He got y'all now. Now the cup shall pass unto the daughter of Edom. The punishment of the iniquity of daughter of Zion is accomplished. That's past tense. We almost out of here. That's why that's what's happening in America now. Why did the Lord have all these evil spirits, all this violence, man, all this tension, all this rent going up, all this stuff? Living in America is really fucking people up. To where what is going to cause people's minds to go crazy. You oppress a man too much, what's going to happen? Everybody going to wild out. They going what? Niggas, Edomites, anybody left here in America is going to wild out. And most is going to be Jacob and Esau, because it said the other nations will go to their own land. When shit get too hectic here, and Elam and Moab, they see like, hey man, it ain't no much gain over there. They got, like brother said, they got somewhere to go back to. Where y'all niggas gonna go? You gonna go back to Africa? Try your luck. And where you going? Where you going to Africa? You going anywhere? It's a big continent. See how to welcome in. See how you welcome there. Talk about how I'm back to my brothers. Them Hamites gonna be like, oh, put your head in the cow ass. See, you gonna do that? That's your brothers, right? Your brothers put their heads in cows' asses. The ones you claim to be, the people that you think you come from, they do abominable actions over there, man.
Yeah.
So he trying to get y'all to come over here. So
Yeah. Everybody leaving it in.
It's exciting.
Like talk about trying to get some money from the store, whatever, what they did to slavery and shit and everything. 40 acres. You ain't getting this shit. This devil will kill you before you get you anything. That's why us here right now, our riches is stored in the kingdom of heaven. You know, and that's what we're waiting. You know, we weren't waiting for the kingdom of heaven to be established. But you know what I mean, once the Lord come back, Yahweh Shai and redeem us. You know what I mean? They think they have something here. Our people think they have something here and they can build something here. The devil ain't giving you nothing but death and destruction. That's all he's going to give you. You know? And my reparation is a determinant of missiles hitting Babylon and destroying every goddamn thing. That's my reparation.
Right.
Fuck this shit, man. I don't care
Right,
about
right.
this shit.
Right.
Hey, reparation means a repair. You can't give somebody money. What you did to Israel, you can't repair that by money. Oh my God. Yeah. You can't repair the physical, mental, spiritual destruction you did to Israel by just handing money. There needs to be an actual person. The real reparation is Yahweh Shai, salvation, but what really needs to be given to Israel is vengeance. Vengeance is the only way that you can appease what has been done to us. That's the only way that we will feel like, all right, now we're prepared. But the Lord said, "You're not going to just give you a lick back. It's going to be a double." Because remember, the Lord loves Israel and hates Esau. So He allowed you to touch His people, but now they have become the actual true reparation, which is now we're going to be able to rub this red. You should make your horns into iron and your hooves into brass. Meaning what? That when we stomp out as the sheaves, the nations as sheaves, it ain't going to just be a regular stomp. It ain't going to be a stomp of just a regular shoe, a regular bone, a horn, whatever. It's going to be the rod of iron, a rod of iron, the most severe type of rulership that you're going to experience.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 52, verse 3. For thus saith the Lord, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money.
No, you're going to be redeemed. The Lord not, Yahweh Shai not coming. And be like, yo, let me buy them back. You're going to take us. You're going to take it. You're going to take us, and He's going to take you. Got it?
As the book of Zechariah, chapter 2, verse 7, it says, "Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath He sent me unto the nations which spoiled you, for he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of His eye." So basically all these nations partook in the downfall of the nation of Israel. Okay? Going all the way back to the Greeks, okay? All the way back to NATO and the EU. Okay, all throughout, man, they were partaking in the downfall of the nation of Israel. And now, all these conglomerates and corporations around the world, known as so-called governments, they're all coming together to do what? To come to have a so-called New World Order that's going to keep you just at the bottom. Okay, it's either they're going to eliminate you or they'll keep you at the bottom, man. That's all they want to do. Okay, in the book of Psalms, the 83rd chapter tells you that the Lord is going to have vengeance for all these nations. And the top nation in the top house will be the house of Amalek. Okay, the nation of Edom as a whole. All right, and remember, when the rulership comes in, the Lord said He's raising up the tabernacle of David. Okay, during the time of David, there were no Edomites ruling. All right, when it was passed down to Solomon, which is going to be Yahweh Shai's kingdom. All right, Solomon was Yahweh Shai. All right, this time he's going to be everlasting. There was no Edomites ruling too. Okay, so it's going to be a destructive force, just like the time of David, that sets the peace that Solomon took over, man. All right, and it's all going to be done through Yahweh Shai. All right, it's ironic that he's going to be the one to put his, back then it was his father, but this time it's going to be one of his men, David, on the throne. Okay? So it's going to be a brutal takeover, man. Let me get this real quick and then we'll close it out. It's the book of Amos, chapter 9, and verse 11. It says, "In that day
So I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. Okay, raise up the tabernacle of David is the house of David that's being raised up right now as you see. Okay, it says, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. Okay, and going back to what I said, during the time of King David's rulership, the Edomites were at the bottom. Okay, you were servants, all right, to the house of David. Okay, so your wishes and your desire and your lustful desire to be kings of this earth forever, all right, it's null and void, man. Okay, it would never happen, like François said. It's fiction. It will not happen. All right. Hold on, I gotta jump. Hold it out with that. I'm going to satisfy to the elect. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shai, Hashem, around the us.